Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen for another update from DC. It is crazy times as usual in 2020, and what helps me in crazy times is to keep it simple. So today I am eating some plain warm bread with some plain butter, and it's hitting the spot. The main thing that I want to talk to you about in today's update is CCL's perspective on Joe Biden's climate plan. This summer, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden announced a climate plan as part of his campaign platform. As wildfires raged into the fall, Biden gave a major climate speech, continuing to signal that the issue is a priority for his campaign. So I'd like to briefly cover some of the politics surrounding this plan, and then I'll look at the policy proposed. So on the politics, this plan shows that climate change is a priority at the highest levels of American politics. We're excited to see that climate change is getting so much attention in the national conversation and on the presidential campaign trail. That reflects the growing political will for climate action, and that's a big positive sign. Now, Biden is not explicitly calling for a carbon price, and that's okay. Campaign season is an adversarial time where candidates and parties are focused on highlighting their differences. Putting carbon pricing front and center in any campaign would make it a target, and so tough to build support around from the other side of the political spectrum. But if you do look at the section of his plan titled Biden's Year One Legislative Agenda on Climate Change, in the first paragraph of that section, he talks about a, quote, enforcement mechanism that, and here I'm going to quote again, will be based on the principles that polluters must bear the full cost of the carbon pollution they're emitting, and that our economy must achieve ambitious reductions in emissions economy-wide instead of having just a few sectors carry the burden of change. Now that description is certainly consistent with the carbon fee, but as I said, it's not explicit. This is a legislative plan, and the presidential campaign is not Congress. So we'll have to continue our focus on legislators to make sure our preferred solution is the easy, good solution. And in Congress, there is broad Democratic support for carbon pricing. During the 2019 to 2020 session of Congress, 82 Democrats have co-sponsored the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. That means that more than a third of the Democratic caucus in the House is pushing for this ambitious price on carbon. There are also nine other carbon pricing proposals in this Congress, 2 of which have been introduced in the last month. Now, none come anywhere to as near as many co-sponsors as the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. But even the number of proposals helps create a solid foundation for us to push from to ensure that a pricing mechanism will be part of policies Congress puts forth to reach major emissions targets. And while this is going on, we also want to continue to prioritize bipartisanship. Policies with bipartisan support are better able to weather changing political winds. They're more durable. We're not going to have Democratic presidents from here until 2050, nor Democratic control of either the House or the Senate. A bipartisan solution makes it more lasting regardless of who controls any of these bodies. We will continue to meet with both Republicans and Democrats to bring them on board with climate solutions together, ensuring the issue can be more of a bridge than a wedge. And moving on to the policy, we continue to believe that a strong price on carbon pollution is a policy like the Energy Innovation Act is the most efficient, effective way to achieve major climate goals, including many of the ones that Biden has identified. It will reduce emissions across our entire economy while putting money into people's pockets. More than 60% of households, including 96% of the least wealthy quintile, will receive more than they need to cover increased costs. And we actually have a recently updated household impact study, our 2020 household impact study, where you can check this out. We also updated our personal carbon dividend calculator, where you can enter some simple, easy to remember information about your situation, including where you live, and you'll be able to find out how the Energy Innovation Act we expect would impact you. That said, if Joe Biden wins and Democrats push forward for climate legislation, we'll be entering into the sausage-making part of the policy process. And it's important to understand that what comes out of the other side will most likely not look exactly like the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, even if we're successful in getting that to be a part of that policy. We could be looking at a strong price with revenue used for things other than just for a dividend. A proposal may or may not have a regulatory pause. We could be looking at a combination of pricing and other tools wrapped up into one big climate package. There are lots of options. So as we confront this looking for this time of uncertainty, let's remember our North Star. CCL's mission is to build the political will for a livable world. Our lines in the sand on policy have always been, does the policy reduce emissions in line with the science? And does the policy protect poor and middle class Americans? Of course, our preferred way to achieve those goals is through something very similar to the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. But if it's possible to achieve those goals in another way, and there's political momentum for another way, we need to stay open to that. Trust that if major climate legislation is being seriously discussed in 2021, CCL will be advocating to make sure it meets those bottom lines so that we can support it. So thanks for paying attention. Good luck, stay safe, stay healthy. And another thing that helps me in troubled times is chocolate.